I remember the night my body finally gave way. I was sprawled out on a stranger's couch in Chicago, the taste of cheap liquor burning my throat and the sound of men laughing in the next room. My chest felt tight, like someone was pressing a brick against it. My mind was clouded, but one thought cut through the noise. If I die tonight, nobody will care. Not my mother, who left when I was 12. Not my father, who vanished long before I could even remember his face. Not the men who used me for money. I had given my body away so many times it no longer felt like mine. Worse, I had begun helping men run scams on the vulnerable, tricking lonely souls into handing over their savings. And every time the guilt crept in, I drowned it with drugs, alcohol, or another stranger's arms. The truth was simple. I hated myself, and I hated God even more. If he was real, why had he abandoned me to the streets? Why did he let me rot in shame and filth? That night, I whispered in my heart, if you exist, then show yourself. If not, let me die here. I had no idea how dangerously close those words would take me. But what happened next shook my soul to its core, because God answered me in a way I never imagined. He took me to a place no human heart can endure. Before I continue, let me pause and thank every single one of you watching right now. If you are already subscribed, may God bless you for fueling this channel with your support. To all the new and returning viewers who have not yet subscribed, I cannot wait for you to hit that subscribe button. It is the very energy that keeps stories like this alive and reaching more people. And please, engage in the comments as we go along. Share your thoughts because your words could touch someone who desperately needs hope. My name is Tiffany. I am 43 years old now, but my story begins back in 1998 on the streets of Springfield, Illinois. I was a teenage girl with nothing but anger in my chest and survival in my veins. My parents were gone. I was left to fend for myself in a world that devours the weak. At first, I stole food. Then I discovered that men would give me money if I gave them what they wanted. I told myself it was power. I told myself I was in control. But the truth was, every time I sold myself, a piece of me died. I became a harlot, shameless in public, but hollow when I lay in the dark staring at the ceiling. And when an older man named Frank pulled me into a ring of fraud and scams, I thought I had found family. He called it business. I called it survival. Together, we tricked desperate people into losing their last dollar. Back then, God was nothing but a curse word to me. Christians annoyed me with their talks of salvation. I thought they were weak, clinging to a fairy tale. I laughed at them, mocked them, and sometimes even used them in our schemes. But what I did not know was that my laughter was leading me closer to a place so terrifying, it still shakes me to remember. And it all began the night my body finally collapsed. The night I collapsed felt like slipping off the edge of a cliff in slow motion. I was in a rundown apartment on the south side of Chicago. The smell of sweat, smoke, and alcohol clung to the air. My chest tightened again, harder this time. I tried to stand, but my legs buckled beneath me. The room spun in dizzy circles, and a buzzing sound filled my ears. I remember clutching the side of a stained couch and whispering, God, if you are real, then do something. If not, I do not care anymore. The words were barely out of my mouth before everything around me went black. At first, I thought I had fallen asleep, but then I opened my eyes and realized I was standing in a place I had never seen before. There was no light, no air, just thick darkness pressing down on me. The silence was heavy until it broke. Screams. Endless, blood-curdling screams. They came from every direction. Men, women, even children. The sound made my bones feel like they were vibrating. I clutched my ears, but the noise was inside me. My nostrils burned with the stench of sulfur, like 1,000 matches had been lit and snuffed out in rotten air. Then I saw the flames. Not like the fires we cook with, but massive waves of fire tearing through endless pits. And in those pits, I saw people, faces twisted in agony, eyes wide with regret, skin burning but never consumed. Their mouths opened in cries for mercy, but there was none. I stumbled backward, but the ground beneath me gave way like cracked stone. Hands, cold, clawed hands grabbed at my legs. Demons. Their bodies were grotesque, shadows with glowing eyes, their laughter sharp and cruel. One of them hissed, "You are ours." Terror shot through me like ice water. I screamed, but my voice was swallowed by the wails of millions. Every memory of my sins came flooding back at once. The men I used, the money I stole, the lies I helped destroy. I felt the weight of them pressing against my soul, crushing me with guilt. I tried to argue, tried to say I had no choice, but inside I knew it was a lie. I had chosen this path. The demons dragged me closer to a pit of fire. The heat was unbearable, searing my skin though I had not even touched it yet. I caught at the ground, desperate, but there was nothing to hold on to. My heart pounded so hard I thought it would burst. And then I heard it. A voice. Not loud, but firm, cutting through the chaos like a blade through stone. Enough. The demons froze. The flames stilled for a moment, as though even the fire recognized the authority of that voice. My body trembled, tears streaming down my face. I knew I did not deserve it, but in that instant, I felt something I had not felt in years. Hope. The voice spoke again, closer this time. "Tiffany, this is not yet your time, but if you return, you must tell them. Tell them what you have seen so that they do not come here." Light broke through the darkness like dawn splitting the night sky. It wrapped around me, pulling me out of the demon's grip. Their screeches echoed as I was lifted higher, away from the flames, away from the stench, away from the hopeless cries of souls who would never leave. The next thing I knew, I was gasping for air, back on that stained couch, surrounded by men who thought I had just passed out. They had no idea that while they laughed and smoked in the other room, I had just walked through hell itself. But what shook me most was this. I had been given a second chance, a warning straight from the mouth of God. When I woke up that night, gasping for breath, the world felt different. My body was weak, but my spirit was on fire with fear and awe. I could still hear the echoes of hell in my mind. The screams, the curses, the endless torment. I sat upright, my hands trembling, and whispered, "God, I believe you now. Please do not let me go back there." The men in the room laughed when they saw my face pale and drenched in sweat. One of them said, "What is wrong with you, Tiffany? Did you see a ghost?" I could not answer. How could I explain that I had just seen the eternal fate of millions of souls, and almost my own? I staggered out into the cold Illinois night air, tears streaming down my face. I knew deep inside that my old life was finished. The following days were a blur. I could not eat much. Every time I tried to sleep, the memory of fire and demons came rushing back. But strangely, in that fear was also a deep sense of love, because God had pulled me out. He did not have to. I knew I deserved judgment. I knew I deserved those flames. Yet he gave me another chance. That thought broke me. On a quiet Sunday morning, I found myself walking past a small church in Springfield. Normally, I would have crossed the street to avoid it, but that day, something tugged at my spirit. I stepped inside. The service was already halfway through, and the pastor was reading from the Gospel of Luke, "For the Son of Man came to seek and to save the lost." Those words hit me like lightning. The lost. That was me. A harlot, a liar, a thief, a woman who mocked God and used people like tools. Yet here I was, still breathing, because he sought me out, even in the depths of hell. I fell to my knees right there in the back of the church. The tears poured out. I could not stop saying, "Forgive me, forgive me, forgive me." And in that moment, I felt the same light I had seen in the pit wash over me again, not as rescue, but as cleansing. From that day, everything changed. I cut ties with the men who used me and with the fraud circles that had once felt like family. It was not easy. Some threatened me, some mocked me, but I held on to the memory of hell and the voice of God telling me to warn others. I began to rebuild. I found a job cleaning offices. It was humble, but it was honest. I started attending Bible studies, learning truths I had never known. Slowly, the shame that had defined me was replaced with peace. I learned that my worth was not in my body or in money. It was in the love of Christ. Today, I am no longer the broken girl from the streets. I am a woman who has seen hell, but also the mercy of God. I testify because I know someone watching this may still be living in the same darkness I once called home. And I need you to hear me clearly. Hell is real. Eternity is not a game. No amount of pleasure, no amount of money, no amount of sin is worth your soul. God gave me a message to share. Tell them what you have seen so that they do not come here. That is why I'm speaking to you now. To the one who is running from God, I plead with you, stop. To the one who thinks it is too late, hear me, it is not. If God could pull a harlot and a thief like me out of hell's grip, he can rescue you too, but you must turn to him now. I will leave you with this. Hell is a place of no second chances, but on earth, you still have one. Mercy is only mercy if you receive it before it is too late. So I ask you, what will you choose today? I want to hear from you. Do you believe hell is real? And if you were given a second chance, what would you change in your life right now? Drop your thoughts and reactions in the comments. I will be reading them, and I know your words can touch others. If this story has moved you, please like this video, share it with someone who needs a warning, and do not forget to subscribe to this channel. Your support helps this message reach souls who might be one decision away from eternity. Because God took me to hell so that you don't have to go there. And I will never stop telling the world.